Alright, today I'm going to talk about a very attainable and realistic way to build wealth. People might call this the middle class way of building wealth, but this is attainable for most of the people who are listening to this. And then in future videos, I can talk about how to build um, other kinds of wealth. So, what I recommend for people in their early 20s or even younger is to set up a retirement account. And the reason why is because you will never have this advantage of compound interest. Compound interest is basically um, interest that builds up over a lot of years. And since you're like probably 18 now or 20 or 24, I don't know. You have like, depends how old you are, 30 years of interest being able to accumulate. And I'm going to go into detail how you should do it and how you should not do it. So, I hope that you work at a company that gives you a match, okay, so the different kinds of retirement accounts, there are like 10 different kinds. There are kinds for government, for like the police, for the church and stuff. But usually, if you don't fall into this category, and they're all very similar, you should have a 401k set up through your company. And a 401k is basically a retirement account you put money in to, and your company usually matches that. What is a match? So this is very basic stuff. If you already know all of this, then you can just go to future videos. But anyway, so a match is basically, let's say they match 5% of what you put in. So let's say you make $1,000, okay, and you're able in the wherever you set up your 401k, you're able to adjust how much of your income you want to put in there. So if you work like 20 hours and you make $1,000, 5% of that $1,000 is going to go in that 401k. The match means that the company is going to put another 5% in that account, up to 5%, and then if you put 6% in, they will not match that anymore. So for example, if someone puts like $50 in their account, company will put another 50 in there. If it's 5%, if you didn't work if you didn't work for 20 hours and only 19, the 5% will be less. Obviously, because you worked less than 5% of your income. It depends on how much you work, basically. Well, a lot of people just match their 401k or go above the match and think that's good. That's definitely a lot better than what a lot of people are not. It's probably better than doing nothing. And I don't know how many people have a 401k, but I would maybe say half. I don't know. Well, it's better than doing nothing, but what is even better is putting your money in a Roth IRA. So, you still want to take the match from your company because it's free money. But the disadvantage with the 401k is that it's going to get taxed when you get older. So the earliest age you can withdraw the money without a penalty is 59 and a half. And the issue with the 401k is that if, let's say, you take $40,000 out of it every year, they're going to tax you on that $40,000 just like they would tax someone who works and earns $40,000. And with a Roth IRA, you don't have that. It's tax free. You can become a tax free millionaire doing that. Obviously, you already pay with money that has been taxed. So let's say you get let's say you get your paycheck, right? It has already been taxed. They already took money out. They might give you a refund later. You have like $1,000. That money has already been taxed. that money, if you put that in your Roth IRA, they can tax it when you can take it out, if you want to take it out, but they can with the 401k. And it's just like a 401k, you can take it out at 59.5. The only difference is that in right now 2020, the maximum amount you can contribute is $6,000, and if you make over a certain amount, I think it's 130,000. Maybe I'm wrong, somewhere around that. You can't contribute anymore, but there are backdoors to still contributing. But so what I recommend is you match your 401k. You don't put any more in there than the match, and then you put another 5% in your Roth IRA. Depends on how much you want to put in there. You don't want to put your whole income in your retirement account. You still need money for other things, and there are other ways of investing, because this is long-term investing, and you don't just want to invest over 30 years, because you want to enjoy your money before retirement too. So you don't want to invest only for what's going to happen in 30, 40 years. There's also something called the HSA, but I'm not going to go into that because I'm personally, I don't like HSAs, because in my state, there are weird laws around it where you can't, it doesn't, I'm not even going to go into that. I don't like HSAs. They're basically like a Roth IRA, like a retirement account, and you can withdraw money in case of, like, let's say you leg broke and that's $1,000 medical bill. You can withdraw that money tax-free from a HSA, but I'm not going to go into that right now. But you can look into it if you're interested. So now we have retirement. We're done with retirement. Before I'm going to go to the next thing, if this is just a rough estimate, okay, I could be off $300,000. So if you put $400 for 30 years in the S&P 500, which is an index fund. An index fund is a collection of stocks, basically. A stock is basically just means you own part of the company, and the worth of the company, right? If you put, I'm just trying to explain this for as simple as possible for people who are new to this. So if you put like $400 over 30 years in a Roth or any account, even in a regular stock account, they will tax you on it. But let's just do Roth IRA, okay? You can have $1 million in there, and that's not even unrealistic. You can have $900,000 in there. You can become a tax-free millionaire just by doing that. So if you have another $400 laying around and your emergency fund is already set and you don't have any debt, then I would recommend putting that in there. And just so you know, the stock market fluctuates, so it's not for the weak-minded, because you can lose half of your money that you put in over 15 years in a few days or a week, or however the stock market is going, and it will go back up. You just have to mentally, the more you know, the less worried you are. So just keep in mind that, for example, the S&P 500, there are other index funds, but that there's an average return of 7, I think, percent or 10% over the last 60 years. So don't worry about your money going up or down. It will come back and grow. So now we have this covered. Real estate is another thing I want to talk about. So is it worth it buying a house? This is very middle class thinking. This depends on who you ask. The issue with having a house is, especially in an expensive area, you need to have a down payment unless you're a veteran, and if you don't have a down payment, there's something called, there's like an insurance you have to get. It costs maybe, like, it depends. on on a lot of factors. For me, it was like it would have been $3,000 or $4,000 over the course of 6 years extra, because if you don't have the down payment, the bank has a risk. So you have that. You also, after the down payment and that, you have usually home owners association fees, and you have the principal and the interest. If you have um, a 30-year loan, the interest is so high. I just looked at my friend's mom's house. She showed me stuff on her house, how much interest she would have paid through a 30-year loan, and I think the principal was $400, which means what you're paying off. And I'm not joking. The interest was like $800, and I think that's ridiculous. So I would not go with a 30-year loan. I'm open to discussion if you think a 30-year loan is better, but after what I've seen, I don't recommend it. So you need, let's say $200,000 house, okay? If you have a 15-year loan mortgage, 50-year mortgage, um, your monthly rate will probably be $2,000. If you have homeowners association fees, the principal, the interest and the insurance if you don't have the down payment. That's what I calculated. So, is it worth it? That depends. What you could do is, and if you have a high credit score, the interest fluctuates too. So I recommend having a high credit score. If you buy that apartment or house for $200,000, and you cannot buy a house where I live for 200,000. I've seen a manufactured home or like an RV park. It was like a not a real house. I've seen that for 200,000, but not. So I've seen an apartment for 200. It was a 2 bedroom. Let's say you pay 2,000 a month for everything. If you have a roommate, that's perfect because um, let's say you have your down payment of $40,000. That would make it down your in a 15-year loan. That would make it down to 1,400 a month. Let's say you have a roommate, 700. Okay. So where are we now? 8, 9. That means you have to pay about, maybe I'm wrong, $700 a month for 15 years, and you would be done, and you would have your apartment paid off. This could be a good thing, but if anything happens, I forgot one thing. Homeowners insurance. In case anything happens to your apartment, you have to fix it, and it can be good. It's called house hacking, but for the average person who will buy a house for a 30-year loan mortgage and have no roommates, I don't know if it's worth doing. It's more like it's not really an asset, to be honest with you. They even said this in Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's more like a liability because, I mean, a house is an asset. It goes up in value. Usually depends where you live, depends what happens in the economy. But I don't know if your house payments shouldn't be more than a third of your income, and if that's higher, then I to be honest with you, I would rather have a small apartment paid off, and I would buy more apartments and rent them out than having a big house, because a real asset, and this I might be wrong, but um, gives you money every month. I mean, it either goes up in value or gives you money every month or does both. And having apartments that you rent out do both, and that's way better than just having a big house. Um, so those are two things you can do. And what else do I have to say? You can start your own business, which is pretty hard. Online is pretty easy. You can have like a Shopify business, um, where you just basically get stuff from China and you sell it through like your own website or advertisements on Google or Instagram. Um, I had a coworker who did that on the side for a while, and he made $30,000. But I've never done it, so I can't really advocate for it. Real estate agent or something like that. Um, I was looking into that. You can try this, but the only issue is with starting a business, and I've never started one, is that depending on the business, you don't have any income at the beginning, and there's no guaranteed income later. But the only, that's like how you build a lot of money, a lot of wealth. Excuse me. By having a business, the only issue is being successful with that business, and it comes with so many risks, and if you're able to pull it off, it's worth it. But I'm gonna go into that in a later video, and I'm trying to build one right now. I'm trying to have like a YouTube channel and give financial advice, but I'm not a financial advisor. I don't think this video will go anywhere, but yeah, if I helped you somehow, let me know in the comments, and if you wanna talk about something, let me know. I'm open to everything, and yeah, be careful out there.